friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
As we film this, All Elite Wrestling is creating all sorts of buzz with their Exalted One angle.
So we figured we'd go back and revisit some other oddball mystery angles in wrestling history.
Yeah, so here you go. Here's the top 10 weirdest mystery angles in wrestling.
Number 10.
GTV! Never have I been so disappointed in an angle being dropped than GTV, Larson. A series of hidden, grainy cameras exposing WWE stars in moments of vulnerability? Count me in, man. I have all sorts of hidden cameras set up all over this office.
You do?
Yeah, man, and you are a weird dude.
No, I'm not.
I'm just joking. Anyways, these videos would appear throughout 1999, and if former writer Ed Ferrara is to be believed, they were in fact meant to signal the return of Goldust, who had last been seen renouncing his gimmick and changing back into plain old Dustin Runnels.
Is that a camera over there?
You'll never know.
The timeline for Ed's recollection doesn't exactly match up though, because Goldust did come back, and it was around the same time as the GTV stuff was happening. In any event, Dustin left WWE in May of 1999. The GTV stuff was brought back in 2000, but this time it was meant for Tom Green. That's a camera right there.
No, it's not. Okay, there are no cameras. Anyway, some of you remember Tom Green was a comedian of sorts who had an MTV show, but he was huge in 2000. Everyone seemed to love him, and he was going to be brought in to be the guy behind GTV until Vince McMahon actually watched his show. Vince didn't think he was funny. He actually wasn't the only one.
No.
Yeah.
Anyways, GTV died without anyone having known what the hell it was supposed to be, but it was a decent angle and a bit ahead of its time. It fit right in with today's culture of cameras being everywhere, wouldn't it, Steve?
Yeah, wait a second. Whoa, hold on a second. Does that mean Hulk Hogan's secret sex tape was part of GTV? Was that just some super long-term booking? Was Bubba the Love Sponge actually behind GTV after all?
Probably not.
Probably not. It just sort of seemed like a scumbag.
Number 9.
Vince's Bastard! One of 2007's biggest stories in WWE came straight from the Jerry Springer Show. Vince McMahon was revealed to have an illegitimate son. That's right, a bastard. This was supposed to be a long-term A-level storyline that elevated Mr. Kennedy to top heel status, with control of the company in the balance.
The story was also rumored to have been Act 2 of the death of Vince McMahon's storyline that was halted when the Benoit murders took place. A few months later, WWE took that ill-fated story and picked it back up on its own, with a paternity suit being filed against Vince by the mother of his bastard son.
Yeah, but once again, real life interfered when the WWE was hit with another steroid scandal. And just before the big reveal of Kennedy as Mr. McMahon's son was to take place, Kennedy was marched into Mr. McMahon's office for reals and was suspended for reals due to a violation of the wellness policy.
Yeah, it's a shame for Mr. Kennedy because he claims a world title run was in the cards in conjunction with the bastard son storyline. When the big reveal happened on Raw, they made an excruciating attempt at a comedy bit where Triple H was teased as Vince's son, but Hornswoggle was the one with McMahon blood.
Yeah. Has anyone had the world title scene pulled out from under him more than Kennedy? I mean, come on, is anyone more cursed than that guy? He had a bruise misdiagnosed as a torn triceps. Bang, he loses his money in the bank to Edge. Then he gets popped for roids even though he claims he had a doctor's note, and boom, he can't be Vince's son, man.
He has a few bad matches and boom, Cena and Orton rat on him for being unsafe.
Right? They should have had Bob Holly be Vince's son, man. Then Crash Holly and Molly Holly, they'd be the McMahons too. And then Bob would start shooting on Shane at a Thanksgiving dinner, but that's just a shoot, man. That guy would shoot on everybody, including the turkey.
Number 8.
Black Scorpion! Man, what's the deal with Ole Anderson voicing some of the worst gimmick ideas in wrestling history? He's of course known as the voice that speaks after the Shockmaster fumbled through a prop wall like some sort of drunken Kool-Aid man. But Ole, who was WCW's booker at the time, also lent his pipes to the voice of the Black Scorpion, who was Sting's major foil in WCW in late 1990. And guess what?
What?
It all started off as a joke.
Yeah, so apparently WCW boss man Jim Herd kept on shooting down Ole's ideas, but Ole lightheartedly pitched the idea of a masked figure haunting Sting, alluding he was someone from his past, and of course, Herd loved it.
Does sound like a cool idea. Anyways, the Black Scorpion was born and would show up to taunt Sting at shows, but he'd also perform low-budget magic tricks, like he just cleared out the dollar bin at Party City. Anyways, Sting and the Black Scorpion eventually did have a match, which saw Al Perez don the mask, But then he quit the company, so when Sting tried to unmask his rival, another Black Scorpion showed up on the stage, which allowed the other Scorpion to escape.
So Sting and the Black Scorpion had their blow off at Starrcade in 1990, and if Sting won, he'd get to unmask his adversary, which of course he did. He won the match, and the man under the mask just ended up being Ric Flair.
As Flair would tell it, WCW had two options for the Black Scorpion, himself or Barry Windham. But since Windham had just recently done a fake Sting gimmick at the previous Halloween Havoc, Flair figured wearing the mask would do far less harm to himself than Barry, so he took one for the team and put this terrible storyline to rest.
What was it with WCW and their fake Sting storylines?
I'm glad you asked, Larson, because we've got more of that coming up now.
Oh.
Number 7.
Who's the third man?
Brother!
So the NWO's third man mystery obviously played out to great success with Hulk Hogan's Bash at the Beach 1996 heel turn and declaration that the New World Organization of Wrestling was in control, turning the wrestling world on its head. But for weeks after Kevin Nash's mysterious assertion that they had a third man until the big reveal, all of wrestling fandom was trying to figure out, who's the third man, brother?
Who's the third man, brother?
Even Vince McMahon got in on the action, or rather, he tried to spoil it on the WWF's 1-900 hotline by claiming, ain't he great, Double J Jeff Jarrett was the third man. Dave Meltzer, the Wrestling Observer himself, wrote, at one point, Mabel was considered to be the new partner of Hall and Nash, a fact that Eric Bischoff disputes.
Yeah, Bischoff has gone on the record and said who the backup third man was, because even on the day of the show, Bash at the Beach 1996, no one really knew if Hogan would sack up and go through with it. Brother.
Before Hogan arrived at the venue, when Bischoff was uncertain if the Hulkamaniac would drop the leg on Macho Man in the main event, he turned to a man reliable enough to go through with it, a man important enough to cause an impact, a man called Sting.
That guy right there. Yeah, history could have played out very different if Hogan got cold feet. I'll be honest, I'm not sure Hogan would have maintained his grip on power if he missed the train on the NWO, Larson. Maybe WCW would have concentrated on building new stars if Hogan's political will was weakened because he refused to don the black and white.
Nonsense. Once the NWO exploded, Hogan would simply insisted on being the fourth man, brother, and nothing would have changed.
Yeah, but then NWO Sting would have actually been Sting.
Yeah.
Which means NWO Sting would have been WCW Sting, a fake Sting WCW used to confuse NWO Sting, who's just regular Sting. You get what I'm getting at there? Yeah, me neither.
Number 6.
Aerostar, time traveler? So have you seen that clip from Charlie Chaplin's premiere of The Circus?
Yeah.
Where there's a lady walking in the background holding a damn cell phone to her ear, Larson? Yeah, the producers of Lucha Underground must have seen it when it blew up all over the internet. Because Aerostar, yes, that Aerostar, showed up at some sort of ancient Aztec thing wearing his ring gear.
Yeah, and later on it was implied that Aerostar could travel into the future as well.
Whoa.
Sadly, Lucha Underground came to an end before this mystery could be fully explored, but I'm guessing that Aerostar jumps off really high things, because once he reaches terminal velocity, you're gonna see some serious shit.
Yeah, that explains why he likes jumping off tall stuff. Just imagine some old film reel of the grand opening of the Eiffel Tower, and in the background you see someone leap off the top, and right as they near the ground, vanish.
Whoa.
But with Lucha Underground seemingly no more, we'll never see how this story ends. But hey, at least we got this picture of a 2009 hipster checking out a bridge opening in British Columbia. Look at that guy, Larson, look at him. You got this dude, obviously from 2009. You got that lady holding a Google Pixel to her head in the 1920s. I'm convinced time travel is real. Why didn't Aerostar go back in time and tell everybody about those crappy Lucha Underground contracts?
Number 5.
Who hit Stone Cold? Right in the midst of the hottest run in the history of professional wrestling, Stone Cold Steve Austin's stack of dimes he called the neck was in bad shape. In late 1999, Austin needed surgery, which would put him out for almost a year. An advertised triple threat match at Survivor Series that year against The Rock and Triple H was derailed due to Austin being derailed by a car being driven by mystery assailant.
Upon his return 10 months later, Mick Foley was tasked with leading an investigation into the attempted vehicular homicide, which we're pretty sure is an actual crime that probably should have been looked into starting the day it happened by a real law enforcement officer.
So obviously, given that the locker room back in the late 90s was full of sharks, Foley figured it was someone in the company and realized that Rikishi and Too Cool were in the area that night of the assault, even though Rikishi wasn't actually even in the company back then. Even worse, he said first Rikishi did it for The Rock. And then after that, it was really revealed that he just did it for Triple H.
Even Austin said this was the worst angle he'd ever was involved in, given how high profile it was, given how it made no sense, and given that it didn't even elevate Rikishi to big time heel like maybe they thought it would. We'd have to agree with the Rattlesnake.
Yeah, good on Too Cool for not rattlesnaking Rikishi out though. They definitely had to know it was Rikishi and they didn't say a word. Man, they are very, very good friends to have.
What?
Number 4.
AJ Styles and Claire Lynch.
So I sometimes regret not watching TNA because I know AJ Styles and Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian and several others are putting on banger matches on a regular basis.
Oh yeah.
When I read up on stuff like this AJ Claire Lynch story, I'm actually happy I missed it all of it.
No way, man. Come on, lighten up. Would you feel better if I told you that Bruce Pritchard came up with the idea?
Oh God, no.
Yeah, okay, fine. What if I told you that AJ, Christopher Daniels, and Kazarian were initially the brains behind the story,
Okay.
and AJ blamed TNA for soiling their creative genius? Would I convince you then?
Probably not, but I suppose you could try.
All right, fine. Okay, so listen. In case you don't know the gist of it, Daniels and Kazarian were on Impact basically saying that AJ was having an affair with Dixie Carter.
All right.
But then they took it a step further. They claimed that good Christian man AJ Styles had an illegitimate child, yes, a bastard, with Claire Lynch, who is Dixie's niece and a drug addict. AJ proclaimed his innocence even though Lynch produced pictures which would seem to indicate that they had smashed, but the mystery persisted. Was AJ the father? So AJ had a match against Daniels, and if AJ won, he'd get to have a paternity test to see if the kid was his. He won that. The match, not the paternity test. But when it came time for the Maury Povich paternity test reveal, Lynch admitted that she was never pregnant in the first place, and that the whole thing was a plot concocted by Kaz and Daniels to blackmail AJ, and then Lynch was written off TV by getting in a car crash. But really, she quit because people were giving her shit on Twitter. So now with all this information, can you tell me if I've changed your mind?
Well, Steve, the results are in, and I am not convinced.
Oh! Now I have to pay child support. Wait, no, that's a different thing.
Number 3.
The Higher Power! Long before the Exalted One arrived in AEW, there was the Higher Power, a goofy storyline that became even goofier when the now memed to death reveal of Vince McMahon screaming, "It was me, Austin! It was me all along!" was dropped on us like a massive shit from a bird in the heavens.
The story made little sense. Two factions, the corporation and the ministry, were at war until Vince turned babyface to save his daughter Stephanie from The Undertaker, who wanted to kidnap her for reasons. Shane took control and brokered a deal between the two factions and made life miserable for Vince and Stone Cold, who was WWF champion at the time.
Yeah, at this point, a higher power is referenced, which immediately dug WWF into a creative hole impossible to crawl out of. There was zero chance a character could be revealed to be the boss of both Shane McMahon and The Undertaker, unless WWF had somehow poached someone from WCW that could have made sense. But even then, who? Sid? He seemed to roam from company to company free of contractual obligations, maybe Sid.
No, Sid would have been the perfect Higher Power, but I think the debut of SmackDown coincided with softball season, so that was a non-starter.
There you go.
Another name that popped up was a young Christopher Daniels, who was doing his Fallen Angel gimmick on the Indies back then. He confirmed this rumor recently and said he had been in talks to be brought in, but that it was a bad fit because he was an unknown name.
Yeah, rumor has it that Vince felt Daniels was too short. Anyways, in the end, the WWE does exactly what WWE does whenever they write themselves into a hole. They dropped a turd that made no sense and yet was fairly obvious. Vince McMahon was the higher power. I mean, after all, he was the actual boss of Shane McMahon and The Undertaker.
True.
I actually remember watching this live.
Same here.
And I was thinking to myself, this is stupid.
It is
and
stupid.
Keep in mind, Larson, I was in my 20s back then, and Steve in his 20s was really stupid, and even he thought this was stupid.
I can vouch, you were really stupid in your 20s.
Right?
Number 2.
Anonymous Raw GM! One thing that's plagued WWE programming for many years is that far too often, creative ideas are put on TV with no plan on how to see the storyline play out to a satisfying conclusion. Far too often, stories are introduced, then abruptly scrapped, or worse yet, slowly fizzle out.
Such was the case with the Anonymous Raw General Manager, a storyline which tormented viewers for over a year. Far too many episodes of Raw were interrupted by that goddamn tritone fucking iPhone ringtone. That is a wonder I kept watching wrestling at all.
Settle down, man!
Don't tell me to settle down.
Anyways, the Anonymous Raw GM would regularly drop little hints about his or her possible identity, but it went absolutely nowhere until that whole storyline was dropped and Johnny Ace was put in charge of Raw. People power!
In hindsight, I'm not sure that was really an improvement, though.
Oh,
He
yeah,
used to
that
roll
was
around his
great.
little scooter.
Look at my scooter, it's great.
Yeah, about a year later, we finally learned who was behind the anonymous Raw general manager, and of course, they made a joke out of it, revealing that Hornswoggle was not only Vince's kid, but also the one who kept hitting that goddamn tritone fucking ringtone all the goddamn motherfucking time.
You talking about this one? This one?
Stop.
This one?
Stop.
Talking about this one?
Stop. I'm
gonna do it some more. No! Give me my phone back, I need this!
Number 1!
Who killed Vince? So the character of Mr. McMahon had a bad run of luck through the first half of 2007. He lost his hair at that year's WrestleMania at the hands of Donald Trump. More on him later. Then lost the ECW title to Bobby Lashley after briefly holding the belt, all of which sent Vince into a bit of a funk.
So on June 11th, 2007, Raw held Mr. McMahon Appreciation Night, and that didn't go exactly as planned for the chairman either, because someone blew up his limo right after he got into it to close the show. But then WWE went a step further, issuing a press release which stated that Vince was presumed dead. Enough people took this seriously that WWE stock briefly dipped. Oh, and that idiot Donald Trump, he actually called Titan Towers to ask if Vince was okay.
Okay, well, they issued a press release, so he was
It's
probably...
wrestling, it happened on TV, of course.
They
it's
issued
fake.
a press release! Why are you making me defend the guy? Anyways, WWE put a swift end to this angle a couple weeks later when a real tragedy happened, the Benoit murders. But former WWE writer Court Bauer did provide a glimpse into where the story might have gone if it had continued. We would have been introduced to Vince's kayfabe brother, Roderick McMahon.
Roderick.
Yeah.
Who knows where the story was going to go, but given the outlandish creative direction at the time, probably nowhere good.
So there you go. There are the 10 weirdest mystery angles we could think of. Let us know what we missed in the comments, and be sure to smash that like button.
Smash it. You can also get new 10 for the Win shirts over at friendomerch.com and check out previous episodes of 10 for the Win right here.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Till next time, we'll see you later.
Or will we?
Is that a mystery? I think yes, we probably will. I don't know, we probably will.
There's a hidden camera right there. I see
Yeah,
it.
that is one. Yes, that is
Go
one.
take it down.
Yeah,
Get
there's
out of
one.
here, go
There's
take it
one
down.
under the table near your crotch too.